Hello, welcome back to the latest and greatest in vector graphics using Adobe Illustrator. All right, let's start with just general housekeeping. I think I mentioned this before, but I need to mention it and I want to mention it. Getting your stuff in. I just need to mention it if you haven't. And I need to maybe re-show this grading rubric, this big thing in red. No assignments will be accepted 7 days after the due date. That has come. That is starting to happen now. You'll notice, and I'll show you because I have it set up on the student version, that sessions disappear. Oh, but I didn't get it in. 2 weeks after the fact, you've either been fired, let go, nobody wants to work with you anymore. It's too late. Like, that doesn't happen in the industry. If you're like, oh, no, it's fine. It's 2 weeks late. You know, you order at a restaurant and they give you your hamburger 2 weeks late. You'd be like, what? So just showing you that, like, I discussed this the very first day of class. I discussed it again, and I hope this is the last time I discuss it. It's not like fun for me, but you guys got to know that, like, this is how it rolls. It's been there since day one. So, just, yeah, I mean, 2 weeks. So as you can see, studio session 1 is gone. Studio session 2 lines actually disappears tonight at midnight. Exactly 2 weeks after the due date. Then the next one, you know, like, so these will, the most you'll see is this, and then it'll start like building, because no need to keep the old stuff around. We're moving on. We're progressing. We're learning. We're working with the blob brush. So, all right, I'm going to talk about Portfolio Builder 2 in a couple of minutes, you know, more than a couple of minutes. I want to go over a few things. First thing, I've seen awesome Bauhaus poster designs, like blown away, super happy. People are getting it. They're understanding it. They're nailing it. I made comments to everybody, and I tried to be very precise, like 1, do this, 2, do this, 3, do this. I've done it for everybody. I try to start with a nice little start, like good start. Sometimes I jump in, and it's not that I'm being mean or too direct. It's just like I jump in, like, I was enough with the niceties, like, here, okay, fix this. And like, I'm so excited, and it's excitement. It's not like meanness, like, darn it, you need to fix this. I just like jump right in, and I'm excited to see, like, if you adjust these few things, do you know what will happen? It's like, it's exciting to me. So if I don't start with like, good start, blah, 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 I say it in my head. Like, so just, you know, grain of salt, you know, everybody's doing good. You'll know if you're not. I send you separate messages, you know, about staying on track or whatever like that. So everybody, awesome job on those posters. I made comments to everybody. That was my, you know, main goal yesterday, get all those out so you have enough time to start doing these revisions, which are minor. And I'm going to talk about them right now for a majority of people. I don't know why everybody did this. So I'm going to make an imaginary file because I want to talk about a couple things, and I'm going to keep it small. Just going to use this 7x5. This is for demonstration purposes only. Don't think that I'm doing something that you need to do. I'm just creating something so I can talk about a few design tips, tricks, and everything else, and then we'll roll into the assignment, which is going to be fun. All right, I got my setup 7x5. 1 artboard. I'm going to flip it. So it's, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I got a 1/4 inch bleed. This. I don't need to go to more settings because I only have 1 artboard. I'm going to hit create. And just like I always do with every project, no matter what, even if I'm displaying stuff, I should just do this margin stuff. It's good to do. Pull that. Go to fill. Is nothing, stroke, magenta, industry standard, 1 point. I'm going to make sure it's centered. I'm going to double check the size, which I didn't do. 6.5 tab 4.5. I know that because I knew what my dimensions were. Let's recenter it. Let's turn on the rulers. Let's pull a guide, hit center, pull a guide, hit center, lock it, crop marks. Draw it. None, FX, crop marks, lock it, new layer, pull it, I'm done. All right, first thing, bleed. I want to say, like, I'm estimating, like 90% of you forgot bleed. When you're working with a document and you like, oh, I want the background to be yellow, and you start like this, you actually have to go all the way to the bleed marks. All right. Did I just hear a dink? No. So make sure you go all the way to these bleed marks. Don't stop at the artboard. It is distracting, right? You're like, oh, what? For Illustrator, and I do this less and less over time, but I still do it. I will create a special layer, and I'll just call it like block out. All I do this for is to have me not see the bleed on my document, but to still be able to work and include the bleed. This will be very important in a minute. So I'll make this rough, like outside of the area up into the artboard, these just big blocks. And I want them like right to the artboard edge. And you'll see what I'll do. And then I'm gonna like color them all. I'm gonna use the eyedrop tool and just do the background color. So and then I lock it. And all that's doing is visually taking out the bleed. So when I'm working on my design, I have a better understanding of like where my artboard ends. But when I design something and say, like, I've seen some people do, I want a black line, like, like, oh, like I want this black line, and I stop it here. Like, no, it needs to actually go all the way out. And it can be, you can have it go that far, like, but that way I don't see it. I know it's there. And if I turn that off, I know it's bleeding all the way off, far enough. If you have, an image, we can do it with an image. Like, oh, I got this guy, and like, oh, I want it right there. No, that's the edge of the artboard. It actually has to go all the way to the bleed mark. Because again, when we come a cutting and we cut it, if you're off, it's going to show, and it's going to have like a white edge, like, because you didn't go all the way to the bleed. But that's where like this comes in. You're like, okay, but I want to know where my image ends. Make a fake block out. But I mean, you have to, with great advancements comes great responsibility. I couldn't think of a better way to redo that stupid quote. You have to remove this because this is for you only. And if you leave this on, that becomes a problem, because then the printer would think, oh, they want it then to be gray on the outside. So you got to watch it. So this is like, if you want to use this blockout technique, use it carefully. You got to remove it. I'll bust you for using it if you don't use it correctly. But that's just a way to like sometimes work. So like no matter what you do, I saw everybody was kind of doing stuff right up to the edge, but not bleeding past. It's an industry standard that you have to bleed past. It's required. It's like if you have a print, if you go anywhere and they're like, you don't have any bleed on this document, should we do it? It'll cost you $300. You'd be like, oh, okay, no, I'll do it. And now it's going to cost me time and money as well. Like no matter what, it's going to cost you time and money. So make sure the bleed, is going all the way past. Like anything you want to that edge has to go all the way to the bleed. And if you want that little cheat, just draw gray boxes and then make sure that you like delete this, or you could make this a template. There you go. If you make it a template, it will never print. I forgot to make my margin a template too. How dare I? You could do that. The blockout could be a template too. Then it wouldn't print. Then it won't print either. So that is, again, great responsibility, but I do this when I'm designing to just make sure like I know I have my artboard and I know I'm pushing everything past. I just don't want to see it. You know, sometimes that's distracting. And it's okay to do that. You just have to make sure you do it with, you know, be responsible. All right. Part 2. Widows. I've been seeing lots of widows. Widows are that single word at the end of a line. I don't know if this will keep populating. So if you have one word like that, everybody's been doing good with hyphens because there is under paragraph, there is a hyphen box. So, you know, you won't get hyphens. But right here, that's a widow. That single word all by itself that nobody wants to read last shouldn't be on a line alone. Starting day 1, you fix that. You adjust your type in order to get rid of that. I did it in a dumb, you know, there's 1,000 ways to get rid of that. You can, you know, make your type smaller. Down here in your type box, like you can do type like 11. So it was 12 point. If you go to like 11.85, like it can go in that small of an increment. And I do that. Like I'll grab my type. I'm like, I love the way it's set up, but I have a widow. I just need to get rid of one widow. And I'll sit there and I'll minutely, not hugely, not like a full point, but I'll go in there and go 0.0 and I'll just remove 0.5 until I get it where I want. That's the finesse that becomes where you're the graphic designer, but the computer isn't. The computer does what it's programmed to do, but it doesn't have the nuances to like remove widows and like make these are called ragged edges. See how and sometimes ragged edges are horrible. Like if you have a really long word, I'm going to hit a return here. Like, and if your edge reads like this, it's super distracting to read. So you try to like remove giant gaps like that, which I'm going on a tangent there, but you can make those minute adjustments. You're the graphic designer. It's your eye. You need to be looking at like, how well is this lined up with this? Is there a widow? I'll remove it, but not like remove it with a sledgehammer. You remove it with tweezers, you know, like you take it, I'm just going to go just little minute adjustments. And that's, again, that's why you're a graphic designer. That's why you're learning this. It's not like, well, I just typed it in, the computer does it. No, the computer is dumb. You're smart. So, you know, work with that. Now, we did a design and we have one coming up in a week. Another one where I'm like, you need to turn the fonts, right? What was, and so everybody's, you know, had their paragraph and then they did this. And they're like, what? Shoot. And then so I saw some people would change it, which is fine. You change it to the area text and then you can turn it, right? But then you're stuck that you can't like, oh, I want to make the box bigger. Well, now you're, but you can, one, go back and redo it. But the problem with that one is it makes the box all funky now. See that? Like now it's like the box goes around. I can't even grab it to make it. This is what happens. Here's what you do. Okay, I got area type. So if I want to like adjust, nope, I'm still on the wrong one. All right. I'm on area type, right? I can adjust it, make it longer if I need to. I'll do it long. Here's the tool I use. Free transform. if you do the free transform tool, and then click back, you can now still do that. So you have to do free transform and then go back to direct select. So it's a couple steps, but it's doable and it keeps it editable. So that's the big key with a lot of this stuff is when you're working in Illustrator and you're doing weird things, is like, how long can you keep it fully editable until the last moment? Because you never know what's going to come at you. I'm an instructor and I have like one chance usually with a lot of the assignments to give you information to improve your design. You do it and then it's kind of done and we move on because we need a lot of practice, not just a lot of redoing one assignment. When you're in the industry, you're going to have from a client 5, 6, 7 rounds of changes. You're going to send them one, they're going to come back, move this, adjust this, we don't like this color, blah, blah, blah. Then you send it back, then they send you back more changes, then you send it back. This can go on. I've had in the industry 40 some rounds go by that you're always updating. So the longer you can keep this editable without having to turn it into area type, the better. So when you want your type on an angle, you go to free transform, you angle it. And then if you want to extend it and change it, you just go back to the select tool and then you can do it. See how that works? So it's all there. I saw some people switch it and I was like, oh, this would look better. And I went in your file, I was like, oh no, I can't change it. But I knew what to do because, you know, I've been doing it a while. So that's the big one. There's always a way. I want to say like 90% of the time, there's always a way. I'm always here to answer the questions. But if I'm not, if you're burning the midnight oil, honestly, Google it. Google exactly what you want. It'll come up. Boom, do it. To this day, every week I Google something because I know there's a faster way than what I'm doing. And sometimes it's like really weird stuff where I'm like, I know there's a way, I forgot how to do it. And I just go like, Google, how do you get this to happen? And then boom, comes up. I'm like, oh yeah, now I remember. So don't be shy about that. Like it's fine. You know, I'll answer it if I can. And sometimes when you ask me a question, I have to Google it myself and then I give you the answer. But you know, we're getting the answers no matter what. So that is how you get your type on angles and keep it editable for you. So that will come in handy in the future. I can't stand seeing it sideways. Whatever. So don't forget about your bleed. Make sure everything is going to the bleed. Background, any lines that stop. If you have like a circle, you know, we had designs and it like, you have to decide like, do I want it touching? Or if it goes past, then I have to make sure here's the weird part. Like if that's my circle and it goes past, you know what I have to do? This is the way around it. Okay, I have to do an extension past. Nobody's going to see that, but you do it like right up to that line. It looks dumb. Nobody's going to see it. But if something happens and that cut line goes past, at least it's not showing the wrong thing like yellow or a break or something like that. You could even probably raise that up a bit. But so it's all those things you need to consider because we want to do it right the first time instead of getting charged later on or hearing me say it 800 times because nobody wants to hear me say it that many times. So there you go. All right. So sessions are closing. I'm just scratching off my notes. I talked to you about bleed and the importance of bleed. Widows, those infamous last words on a line is a widow. I talked about it the first session. If you've got questions about it, I listed in every assignment, not to do it. I think I talked to you guys about center text. Nobody's really doing center aligned text because that's just, we're not writing poems. And we did turning area type. Have fun with the blob brush. Remember, for the assignment, you're using the blob brush, not the regular brush. The regular brush works differently than the blob brush. The blob brush makes shapes. The regular brush makes lines. And I'm going to check your work. But I mean, it's so rad. Like, oh God, I love this blob brush. Like, this is sometimes like that freedom from like the super like, oh, Illustrator's like so tight, you know, like this, that, and the other. Okay. I want that red. I have to select off of it. But yeah, just have some fun. No, I want you red. I'm not switching right. There we go. You know, colorway, it's the coloring tool. And again, it knows what it's doing. You can overlap, underlap. They'll join, they won't join. If you have questions, comments, concerns, let me know. You shift where possible, but this is the one where you get some like a little bit of freedom and you get to figure out how to do it more painterly. It's the best painterly version thing to do. But again, blob brush, it's shaped like that. It makes shapes, not the regular brush, which does lines. There is a difference, and I'll be checking that. All right. Let's look at this portfolio thing. Boop. Portfolio builder. Don't forget your transforming artwork book project as well. Dust jacket. So a dust jacket is that irritating cover on a book. It wraps around the book. It's made out of paper, and it's called a dust jacket, and it keeps your hardbound books looking nice. And that's the part that gets destroyed first before the book does. So it's called the dust jacket. There are like 5 sides to a dust jacket. Let's look at this. Expand image. These are the dust jackets, and these are some examples. And the book you are doing is Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451. Why did I choose this one? Because it's about book burning in the future. It's about censorship, and I just think it's funny to do a book cover about book burning. These are examples. These are examples that other people have created throughout history. You are not necessarily to copy what you see, but it's just to give you an idea of like, oh, that's the jacket. I have a wonderful starter, if I do say so myself. I'm downloading it. I'm trying to open it. There we are. There we are. I have a bunch of stuff all over this one to help you move forward. I have information in area type already put in for you in the areas I want it. It is not typeset. It is not finalized. I copied and pasted and put it in. It is in, I believe, Myriad. It is in Myriad Pro. As you know from me talking, we are graphic designers now. We do not use default settings because any person off the street can open the program, use the default settings, and design something. They're not a designer. You are. You are to pick the fonts that fit the design, look good, and everything. You have a spine. And as you can see, I have text on here. Text on the spine should go this way. Top to bottom. You read top to bottom on a spine. That is why that text is there. You can remove it. Usually the text on the spine is the name of the book and the author. Again, look at some books. If you got a book at home, look at it. Like seriously, like that's how you know, there is a front cover. That's the one where you want to get people's attention. There's the front flap. This is information about the book. There is the back cover, which has some reviews and more information about the book. And then the back flap has information about the author and a picture of the author. What size is this? Oh, this is 11 point. You can go. Like, when I talk, this type is not typeset, meaning I just threw it in there. So reduce the size of the type if you want. You can go to 10, 9, 8. Don't go smaller than 8. Smaller than 8 is for like hidden like sweepstakes information and stuff like that. We don't do that. So you can go smaller in the type size. Don't go bigger. Like, as you can see, like all these margins are built. Don't be like here, and then you're like margin to margin, and then I did this, and boom, I'm done. And it's just like squished in there. No, 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 no. Like, think about, like, how does this look? Sort of each one of these is a page in itself. So like when you look at this, and part of this guy, he should be part of this page, like Ray Bradbury. So I'm like, okay, first thing I'll do is I'm going to choose a different font. And my font is going to be used throughout the piece, right? And I'm just going to do Arial Regular. Just, it's the first one I picked. Please don't just, I didn't pick Arial Regular. I'm doing it for demonstration purposes. I want you to think about this. This is your design choice. Don't say he did it, so I did. And I'm going to go down, like, I'm going to go down to like 9 point. And then I'm also going to like come in from the margin anyway. Like I don't want it touching the margin. And then I got the image. I can make the image smaller. And then I'm going to look like, oh, I have a widow. I'm going to make sure I get rid of that widow. I'm going to like double check some stuff, or maybe I'll put the picture in the, maybe I'll put the picture in the top. Maybe I'll put the picture bleeding off. And, but if I have it bleed off, I go all the way to bleed the edges. Like anything you want to do is doable. But we're designing little pages, back cover, same thing. Like, don't stuff it in. I guess that's the biggest thing. We get into this, we're like, it needs to be as big. No, zoom in, look at it like a little piece of artwork. Don't stuff it in. We're not trying to stuff a turkey. The text isn't the stuffing for a turkey. It's just like, we want to be able to read it and feel at ease, and not like it's so big it's edge to edge and yelling at me. So reduce the size of it, add some stuff. It's a lot of text. It is, but that's a book. We want information on that dust jacket. But then the fun part. Then we come to the fun part. So, as I said, the dust jacket, you download it. It's been supplied for you. Preset layers, margins, labels, crop marks, the logo, and UPC has been included. Helpers, all the text, and then a layer of text, illustrations, background, and then add layers as you design to keep your designs organized. Design elements. Reflect the themes of the book is such as censorship, fire, and pursuit of knowledge. That's what this book is about. All right. 3 images must be included in the design. You can use the pen tool. You can use the blob brush to create the images. I should write in there, like anything else you know how to use it. I don't want photographs. Oh, I'm in the wrong one. I'm going to write that in there. I'm going to put that in there. No photos. I can't edit it right now, but it will be edited. Because sometimes like when I'm writing these, I don't think about that other part of like, oh, somebody's going to put an image in. But this is Illustrator, not Photoshop. That's why you shouldn't put photos in. And some of that photo stuff I showed you earlier, you may be dropping in photos in the future, but I don't want it. Now, 3 images must be included in design. You can use the pen tool, blob brush, whatever to create the images. Some suggestions are firefighter gear, books, flames. I think everybody knows how to make flames. A matchbook, matches, matchbox, stuff that fits the book. a salamander, which I think is rad. And I don't know, I don't think I put it in. I left it out. A salamander. A salamander is, and I have the whole thing, is a symbol associated with firemen and their role in society. It's linked to the myth that salamanders can survive fire, reflecting the fireman's ability to control and wield the flames. So that's a really cool one. Please look up salamander and not lizard. Let's see. Images. Salamanders are like this, these guys. They're squishy. Like this is kind of a stereotypical salamander. A lizard is not a salamander. If you do a lizard, I will make you redo it. This is a lizard. This is a salamander. Salamanders kind of have wet or gross. Lizards, dry. I'm not a biologist, but please make sure you reference. Now, how does one, how do I do it? You copy references. Got a salamander? I got a salamander. I'm going to take this image and say, oh, it's cute. I'm going to use that. Save image as. Desktop. Save. And just like all of the assignments I've been giving you that have you recreate something, you're doing the same thing. I would do it on a new, like I'm just going to create something new because this is like I want to play around. Why is it not doing new file? Too many things open? Oh yeah, I'll do it in here then. Or I'll just close. Let's open again. So, you can open up new files and then just like copy and paste your stuff in. So like I got the salamander and somebody's new file. Great, create. This can be kind of slop. I'm going to go to File, Place. I'm going to find my image, Place. I can place it in there. It's way too big. Just like anything else, you shift, click on the corner, hold down shift to constrain it. You never not hold down shift when you are designing. Shift constrains it. I don't want people, we don't want this, right? That looks like crap. We want to constrain the image. I'm going to lock it, make a new layer, and then like say for this, I could blob brush this, pen tool, blob brush, any other tool. Grab the blob brush, make it a weird color to start. I was like pink, and just like go in there and start tracing the salamander. And then like, oh, here, I got to get to his little toesies, right? We change the size of the brush. We zoom in. We go back to that blob brush. And then if we double click on it, I can reduce the size. Hit OK. Just paint. Here, when I'm doing this scribbling, I should just make a larger brush. Like the big thing is like you kind of go around with the small brush and then for fill in. And then, like we go like this. I got all this. And then I can take it. I can select all. I can group it. I've got a wrong setting on here. Let's see. I'm going to make it one. My blob brush is set wrong. There we go. I think it comes correctly I had something turned off due to something else where it wasn't joining them purposely. And then if I need to, I just lock that layer, and that's like body. I call it, that's like the body of the salamander. And then I want the spots, right? Then I just do one with called spots. You can join these up later, you know. Then I go in. This is easy. I'll go to the blob brush, fill, yellow, and then little, oops, you know. I go in tighter, make sure that's like accurate. I'm doing this for demonstration purposes. And then when I turn that on, like there, you know, like his spots are coming alive. That's how you do it. Flames, look up flames. Matchbook, look up matchbooks. Like look up the things you want to be placed in to help tell your story. But we need 3 of them, 3 items placed in. And if you have other ones that are referencing the book, so be aware. I may type back to you like, oh, what does that rainbow have to do with the book? And if you're like, oh, I remember when I read the book in chapter 12, it says something about rainbows. I'm like, spot on. But you need the reference back. So if you are in the real world and working, and was Simon and Schuster? Simon and Schuster called you up and was like, hey, we're doing a refresh of Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451. Would you like to design the cover? And you're like, heck yeah. You know what the first thing you would do is? Go to the store, buy a copy of Fahrenheit 451, and read the entire book. Then you have a starting point for the reference for what you're going to do for the book. You wouldn't just be like, hey, I'm going to go and look at the Cliff Notes or ask Google, what is the book about? Like you want to dig deep. I am not fooling you. This is what you do. Like I have friends who work in the industry who design posters for major artists. And every time they get one, it like if they're doing album work, they listen to that album a bunch of times. Even if they don't like the music, they listen to it over and over and over to get what the album is about so they can create the artwork for the album. If they're doing a poster for a concert that is in a special place, they find out where that place is, they find the history of that place, and they make sure the poster reflects the place and the artist. So it's the research that you put into it. So make sure you have the 3 elements, you know, that work with it. Again, title and date, use point. That's just like, know when to use point, know when to use area. I think it's all right there. Are there any questions about Portfolio Builder number 2? All right, cool. Well, go forth and design. Be great designers. Have some fun with this. Yeah, play around. It's the project. It's bigger than the last one. They'll keep getting bigger and bigger. So give yourself time. And yeah, jump in, have some fun. I'm really excited about some of the other projects coming down the line as well. So that's good. And if you have questions, comments, concerns about anything, you know how to get a hold of me. More than happy to meet with you, jump on a call with you, whatever it takes to get you becoming the best graphic designer and Illustrator user in 8 weeks. All right, take care. I will talk to you, if not on the discussion boards and through video chats if you need to, on next week, Tuesday. All right, take care. Thanks.